sync clap. Okay. Hello there, fantastic to see you. You look as dashing as ever. I don't look nearly as good. I have hat hair. I'm sweaty. It's hot in here as usual. But that's not the point. Today we're going to do a question and answer where you ask questions and I will answer them. And if you don't want to miss this in the future, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to follow my Twitter at Jake Rar. There's a link down there. And also, one thing I'm going to do actually moving forward for Q&As is not only get questions from Twitter, but also from my members, which is a weird thing to say. But basically what that is, you might see below this video, there's kind of like a join button next to subscribe. And YouTube a while ago asked me if I would test out their new members feature, and I was very slow to do it. But I did it over the weekend, and already some people are subscribed to that, are members, and that's very nice. Thank you. What it basically does is it's similar to what Twitch does and almost what Patreon does, where, you know, on Twitch, if you subscribe to a channel, you're directly supporting them through money, and that's kind of what this is with Patreon. It's a similar deal. So I did it. I signed up for it. You can be a member if you want. There's two perks that I have. I don't know. They're interesting to me. The first one is just that you're supporting me being able to make more content on this channel. I don't know if you remember, but a long time ago, in an episode, I talked about how this channel doesn't really make money. It basically makes enough money, like $200 to cover the cost of licensing the same songs again and again that I use, and also just diverting my time from Vsauce and CuriosityBox to this. But I want to make more here. I just kind of need that motivation. And the other thing that you get is these vlogs completely unedited, because I do cut out some things that I say because I like to repeat myself a lot and I lose my train of thought. So it's like the full unedited complete vlog, plus you're just supporting me. And then I think you also get, I made some icons that go next to your name, and they change from like a pizza to a burrito to a taco, depending on how long you've been a member for. And I believe you also get custom emojis that I created that you can use. And there's like a members only board and stuff like that, so we can communicate, etc., etc. So if you want to sign up for it, there's the join thing there. And if you're on mobile, I think iOS, there's a link in the description for that. Again, you don't have to, but if you do, that's amazing. And the purpose of it is to get me to make more videos on this channel, because I would love to do at least one a week vlog on Jake Roper myself, but also the channel, which is named Jake. Well, I guess technically it's Jake Roper. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what it is. Just want to get that out of the way. Sign up if you want. If you don't, not a problem. Not the end of the world. But let's get into some questions, shall we? The first one comes from Val, who says, do you think YouTubers should be considered role models? And if so, as a big YouTuber, does that shape the way you present your content or online presence in general? Val, this is an interesting question. So should YouTubers be considered role models? Here's the thing. I broadly would say I don't think most celebrities, whatever you want to classify them as, should be deemed as such. I think they can be part of it. You can use part of who they are, maybe the things that they do, if they do charitable good, or if they're just a positive influence, that's fine. But I would never put all of my faith into one person who I don't particularly know. I think, for me personally, and I can only speak on my own behalf, that I try to present not so much positivity, because I know some of my videos and vlogs can be a little bit, not negative, but more internal and a little bit depressing. But I think it's my responsibility that I do have an audience, and I'm very fortunate to be as positive as I can be. I mean, there's a particular reason why I don't curse on camera. One is because it's not positive. I mean, I think it's fun to curse, to be honest. I do it in my personal life. But I don't do it here because also I don't want to limit who can watch my content. I want everyone to be able to watch it. And I don't want to have parents, or if there's young people watching it, I don't want them, you know, to be cursing all the time. Be like, where'd you learn that from? Like, oh, I learned from Jake. I'd rather not do that. So I do think there is, so long story short, I think there is some responsibility to being a personality, to having an audience and things like that. And I try to consider that when I do things, like when I'm out in public. I'm very more considerate of how I'm acting and how I am. Because who knows, not that I'm super famous, but like somebody might come up to me and be like, oh, hey, Jake. And I want to give them a positive experience. So that is something that I consider. And I hope that all creators and people that have audiences do consider that the things that they do are looked under a microscope. And you have to be very conscientious and aware of what you're doing and how you're treating people and how you're being. And I try to have that in my personal life as well, but it doesn't have to be as practiced as it does when I'm in public, in this forum and just in general. So yeah, it's a really good question. To sum it up, you know who's best for you as a role model. I don't, again, think you should take everything that they say at face value, and you should always be like, okay, this part of this person I like, this part of this person I like, etc., and use that to form that for you. I don't really know. I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's a very interesting question, and I wish I had a better answer for you. But yeah, I know, again, personally for me, I know that I do have an audience, no matter how small or large, and I want to be as respectful of that as possible and to be as positive as I can so I can be a positive influence in people's lives. I mean, that's why I make things. I make things to hopefully inspire people or to get them thinking or to get them understanding something differently or maybe just considering something that they might have not. That's important to me, and I'd like to do that in a way that's very sensible and reasonable and respectable. So good question. Good question. Let's move on. Okay, so we had Val. Now let's go to Dog Beef. Where are your fingers? Well, as you know, Dog Beef, there's a lovely Vsauce 1 video about that. But what do we mean? Physically, in relation to myself, in relation to the universe? My fingers are here. But if I put them down here, are they there? I mean, this is like solipsism, right? If I can't see them, do I know that they exist? Maybe they only exist when they're in my field of view. It's a whole thing. Thanks, Dog Beef. Ooh, John VP. What are your 3 favorite video games of all time? I've answered this before a long time ago in a Q&A, but I think this probably changed. So let's see. I mean, Half-Life is always going to be my number 1. I love Half-Life. Half-Life is the game that got me into making games because they had the map editor. There was this program called like Milkshake or something where you could customize models and skins. And that to me was great, and I really got into Counter-Strike and Team Fortress Classic and all these mods, and I used to help make mods. So Half-Life will always be key to me. Age of Empires 2 is one of my favorites. I love Age of Empires 2. And then what would the third one be? Honestly, I'm going to go with something a little bit more recent. The most recent God of War I found to be incredible. The game, the playability, the mechanics were amazing, and so was the story. It felt, like you were playing a movie, which is the kind of experience you usually get from God of War and also from like Naughty Dog games. But it was just really wonderful, and I was so invested in it. By the time it ended, I was like, oh, I'd want to stay in this world for longer. And that to me was a very important part. Now I'm going to take a sip of my non-branded sparkling water. All right, moving on. Miriam, what music have I been listening to recently, and does the music have an effect on your creativity? Well, good question about the music. I actually, finally, have made a new jam. If you're new to jams, it's a Just Awesome Music playlist. I make them on Spotify, and if you want to make your own on whatever music platform you use, be it Tidal or Apple Music or Amazon Music, Google Play Music or YouTube Music, whatever they call it nowadays, tweet me a link to the playlist that I'm going to make on Spotify, which will be down there on your platform, and I'll include that in the description with a credit to you because that's very nice of you to do that. So yes, there'll be a new jam down there. Check it out. I'll put the Spotify link there, and then throughout the day, I'm sure I'll get other playlists on other platforms to include there too, so check back. But recently, oh no, sorry, let me go to the second part of that question. Music does inspire my creativity. I've said this before, but I can't come up with an idea or write a script unless I already have the music in mind. So I spend a lot of time listening to Jake Chudnow Music, who does all the Vsauce music, and then also this music library that we use, Audio Network. I'll just kind of go through randomly and just listen to songs for a few hours, and then one will kind of inspire me, and I'll just get an idea because of that song, and I'll understand how things visually need to look because of that. So I start adding that to a playlist, and I add more songs, and kind of from there come up with a structure. This song feels like this, so therefore this is the beginning. This song feels like this. Okay, this is going to be good for the third act. And I just place it like that, and then I attach the words to those songs. To me, it's motivation. You need that music to motivate the action on screen and also to motivate yourself, I find. All right. The Pink Plum Bob. The Pink Plum Bob. I did it. Do you often talk to the other Vsauce creators when making new content for your Vsauce channel? Yes. Michael, Kevin, and I talk. Well, Kevin talks to us at least once a week because he lives elsewhere, but Michael and I usually talk every day because we see each other here at the office. We usually do. I mean, if I have an idea, I'll kind of like present it to Michael and Kevin and be like, is this cool? What do you think? Here's what I'm going to talk about. And they do the same. Michael especially will kind of like rehearse the video by telling it to you. So he'll be like, yeah, I'm working on this thing. And then he talks for 30 minutes and gets the whole thing out there. More for him to understand what he's saying and if it fits and to kind of gauge the reaction in the room. So we do communicate a lot when it comes to what we're working on. If we have other ideas and et cetera, it's nice. It's nice to ideate with other people. All right. Ooh. This name's gonna crush me. Levre Max, maybe? What are the videos that you never completed or published about? Well, I can tell you two examples. One was about if you could create a planet, what it takes to create a planet. And that was actually inspired by Valerian, that movie. Because they have this like planet that's basically just a giant space station, but it's so large that it's considered a planet. So it was kind of what does it take to create a celestial body? How long does it take? What materials would you need to use? Could you make an artificial one? Et cetera, et cetera. So that was one. I have all the research for it. I don't know. I think another channel made a similar video, and I was like, they kind of talked about everything I wanted to. And then another one that I have researched for a long time, and I've just been sitting on, because I don't know, I just haven't been as excited about it as I was when I started it, was how fast does the Tasmanian Devil from Looney Tunes spin? Because there's this one clip where he like spins through a mountain, he spins through a tree, he spins into the ground and back out. How fast is that going? Would his skin rip off? Spoiler, it would. So maybe I'll make that video, but I have all the research there. I don't know, if I lose interest in something, then it feels like work. Then it feels like I'm forcing myself to make it, not for me, but because I feel like there's people that just need something from me. So I haven't really gotten there, but one day maybe I will. I don't know. If you like that idea, maybe I'll make it. Ooh, Juice Boy. Do you like red vines or Twizzlers? This might be a controversial opinion. I don't like licorice. I used to as a kid. I really loved red vines. Twizzlers I've always thought to be garbage, and I apologize if you love them. It doesn't mean that you have a bad opinion or bad taste. Maybe I'm just not as refined as you. I think that's really what it is. My palate, garbage. But red vines to me would be the best if I had to choose. But in general, I think that licorice is trash. So there you go. I don't know. I think I just hit a baseball. Sports, athletics. What's next? Ooh, Diana. When did you realize you wanted to pursue cinematography? This one I think might be interesting. I don't know. It's interesting to me. I've always wanted to direct. I tried a bunch of different things. I tried making video games. I tried animating. I tried photography. I tried drawing, painting. I wasn't great at it. Animation I was okay at, but I wasn't great at anything. Directing I could be good at. But when I was in college, what I realized was it made sense to me that if you want to be a director out of the gate, it's a very, 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 very tough hill to climb. Very few people, like, I'm a director, and then they go get to make a feature film or something. That's very, very, very rare. What made sense to me was to study cinematography. Because when you study cinematography, you learn a lot about being on set, being part of a crew. You learn how to light. So you do learn cinematography. You learn how to camera operate. You learn how to be an AC. You learn how to be a gaffer, a grip, all of these things, a best boy. And that made more sense to me as I knew that it would be difficult to be a director, but if I could learn everything that I needed to learn just to work on set, then I could pursue that career of just being a PA or a AD or a best boy or an AC or a grip, etc., on my way up to hopefully being a director. And I decided that I do love cinematography. I love making things look pretty. And I love the way that like lenses and sensors and cameras operate and work. For example, this camera, I'm shooting on my Red camera. It has a giant sensor, much larger than what you see in a phone or even like most DSLRs. It's not as large as like a full frame DSLR, but it's pretty big. And with that, because the sensor is so large, it means that your depth of field is more shallow. So generally, if we're shooting, I think I'm at a 2.8 f-stop right now. If I were to go back like this, I'm going to get a little soft. If I go forward like this, I'm going to get a little soft. If it's a smaller sensor, that might not happen. There might be more breathability with that. So I think this kind of like marriage of science and film is really interesting because you have to understand a little bit about how light works, the properties of that, the property of the lenses and the glass, and different film stocks. Even though everything's digital, one thing I love about Red is that you really treat it like a film stock. So anyway, that's a long-winded answer for that. I'll probably cut it down. Ooh, Carlo, how did you get the confidence to start making videos, and how do I get the same thing, seeing as I have zero of it? Here's the thing. It's nothing to do with confidence. It's more of me trying to push myself. I don't have much confidence, to be honest. Maybe I kind of show that I do, but I don't really. If I do, then that's an act. I never wanted to be in front of camera. I always wanted to be behind camera. And to me, that was because I didn't have the confidence to be in front. I wanted to be the shadow in the back who was directing things, who was moving the action and dictating the action, but you didn't see me. But when I fell into YouTube, it was like, okay, well, if I want to direct my own things, I also need to be in it because of just cost and stuff like that. So it's not so much confidence as it is that I want to prove to myself that I can do these things. It's a challenge to myself. And that's what drives me in life. It's not so much to impress others, it's to impress myself, is what I want to do. I want to prove to myself that I can do something, that I'm worth something. So that's kind of it. There you go. But I would say to you, it sounds so trite, but just do it. Just go out there and make something. Because you don't know. You never know how you're going to feel about it until you've done it, right? You can kind of in your mind go through all the scenarios and play out all the different avenues that are going to happen that you're going to travel down, but you won't know what actually happens until you just try. So that would be my advice to you. Faith, if you had to choose a movie that you have to watch back to back for the rest of your life, what would it be? The Never-Ending Story. That's a joke because it does end, but the title's Never-Ending Story. Brandon the Random. What kind of clothes do you wear and what's your favorite brand? I love fashion. I don't really know much about it. I like to wear a t-shirt and jeans. I don't like thinking about what I'm going to wear. When I wake up in the morning, I always put on the same pair of jeans. I mean, I own 5 pairs of the same jean, which is April 77 if you're interested. They're a French jean company. They're lovely. I wear the same jeans. I own a bunch of different versions of it. Not even versions, they're in the same color. I own a bunch of the same jeans, and then I just have like 100 t-shirts, and I just wear them all. Because I don't like thinking about how I'm going to look or what I'm going to wear. I want to think about other things. That's like the least important part to me. I don't care what people think about how I look or my appearance. It's why generally I don't shave until I have to make a video, and I don't get haircuts unless I have to make a video. Because I don't care. People can judge me for how I look, fine, but I'd rather people judge me for the work that I create. You know? It's like a book by its cover, right? You can judge this, but I'd much rather you look at the work that I make and judge that. So I love the idea that some people look at me and they're like, oh, he kind of looks like garbage. But then they see my work and they're like, oh my God, that guy made that? Holy smokes! Expectations. I like messing with them. Tilgomaniac, I'm going to guess. Tilgomaniac, hard shell or soft shell tacos? It depends. Soft shell most of the time. But if I'm making tacos at home, because I grew up with my mom making hard shell tacos, like American style. So if I'm at home making like tacos for my non-existent family, I'll do hard shell, but whenever I'm out eating or anything like that, even Taco Bell, always do soft shell. Maybe I'll sneak in one Doritos Loco in there, but generally soft shell tacos to me are the best. Oh no, I exited out of the photos with all the questions. Okay. Austin, but a clever, spooky name. What inspired you to make the kind of content that you do on Vsauce 3? Did Michael or someone else present you with the idea? I mean, Vsauce just has a certain way of speaking and approaching content, and I thought that I could do a very interesting job of making that in a very different way, where it still feels like Vsauce, but it looks like something entirely different. And I think that's very important. No matter what you do, you should always put some of yourself into it. And that's maybe an issue that I have, is I can't divorce myself from the things that I create. It is a part of me. It's an extension of me. It's a realization of what I've had in my mind. So yeah, I kind of just took the Vsauce formula and tried to make it my own to a degree. If I succeeded, I'm not sure, but I have fun doing it, man. So thank you, Tyler, but a spooky name. Austin. No, your name was Austin. Well, we're going to cut that out and no one will know except for you watching this uncut version. Maxie. Loved your new series. You didn't actually say. You said your new series is incredible. Anyway. Maxie, your new series is incredible, but do you feel this is really your project video because so many people were involved in the making? Did you have to make compromises? This is filmmaking in a nutshell. It is compromises. Even if you're Steven Spielberg, a lot of things that you're doing, you don't control the camera. You don't control exactly what the actors are doing or how the actors interpret the words on the page. And then when it gets to like the visual effects, you're not the one making it, so you have to dictate what you think to someone else, and then they have to interpret it and make it real. So there always is some thread that is lost or changed a bit. It's like a different hue of blue. It still looks blue, but it's a little slightly different. So it's always collaborative. And luckily with this, one thing that I fought really, really hard for, because it's very important to me, because I'm an egomaniac. I'm not. Well, maybe I am. Who knows? Hey! Is I wanted complete control. So as far as the production came, I had complete control to do anything that I wanted. Every edit had to go through me. If anyone wanted to make a change, I had to be the one who said yes or no. And I wanted that because I wanted it to be mine. I wanted when people watched it to think, oh, this is a Jake Roper movie. This is a Vsauce 3 video. And that was important. But then you have, like, obviously YouTube, who paid for it, has notes specific to them. And those you then have to address. But from that, I find I need boundaries or else I can't create anything. So they would be like, ooh, this part doesn't make sense to me. Can you explain it more clearly? And I'd be like, yeah, I can. I'll just write on screen what's happening. And that's where that kind of came from. Or they'd go, ooh, it's a little bit jarring going from this topic to this topic. Could you add some voiceover to smooth it out? And I'd be like, instead of that, I'm just going to add section cards. Because when you're actually in a lab experiment, you have different sections that you have to do. So maybe I'll just do sections. So I like that kind of stuff. So I don't feel like I had to compromise too much. And everything that I did compromise on, to me, came to realize something better. It was a challenge, which I love. It's going to be a long video. Ooh, Jeffrey, what is happiness to you? I don't know. I think happiness is a very interesting concept. I find it hard to believe, and maybe this is my own kind of cynicism, but I find it hard to believe that anyone is truly happy. I think you can be happy in certain things. Like I'm happy in my relationship with my girlfriend. And there's certain parts of my life that are happy, but not everything is firing on all cylinders at once. There's certain parts that could be going better than others, but that doesn't necessarily mean it affects everything else. So it's kind of like this mosaic where some pieces are put in place properly and other ones need to be readjusted. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if one or myself could be truly happy, but I do know that there are parts of my life that I am happy in. And one day I'd love to flip the switch on all of them. It's just finding the right circuits. Metaphors! Let's see. Ooh, Lindsay, how old is Fajita and what kind of dog is he, and is he the best boy? Fajita is actually not in the room right now. He really is into eating paper and socks right now. And this studio that I'm in has a lot of paper on the floor and a lot of Michael's socks. Oh, he heard me talking about him. I can see his little shadow underneath the door. Fajita is an Australian Labradoodle. He's 5 months old, and I love him to death. He is the best boy. We're still learning some things. He still jumps up a lot. We're learning that. He still barks at nothing. Like I'll adjust my position in a chair, and he'll just like start barking. So we're working on that. But he is a dream. I love him to death. He's such a sweetheart. Ooh. Pretty spooky, that. What is your favorite hat? Either that you wear or just in existence. I've always really loved this hat right here. It's actually the reason why I brought it out. Well, I was wearing it, but I took it off because I don't know. Anyway. This hat, because this one it says Nostromo on it, which is the ship from the original Alien. But it holds a special place in my heart because it was a prop from my very short-lived MTV series that lived one episode, where I did the Science of Alien Covenant. And so this was the hat that I wore from that. So this is a very special hat to me, and I love this hat. Ooh, Alicia Garza asks, who is the infamous Hack Leisha? Well, that is Hannah, who writes and produces Dong, Jack, who writes and produces Dong, and then Alicia, who's the coordinator. And you can see Hannah and Alicia in my 2 videos ago in my unboxing of the Curiosity Box 9. They're in it. All 3 of those human beings are incredibly lovely, talented people, and I'm very happy that I get to work with them and that we're also friends. One thing we do, actually, that I'm really stoked on is we do movie nights every Friday, or we try every Friday. Sometimes it doesn't work out. But we just built a theater in the next studio. So we're going to do spooky, because it's Spooktober, so we're going to do spooky movies tomorrow night. We always just order pizza, and we eat Sour Patch Kids, and we all just hang out and watch spooky movies. So that's fun. Let's see. I'm going to do 2 more, because I feel like this is going on forever. Federico asks, did you film yet? Yes. Ooh. You know, I'm going to do two more. This one is from SK Monkey 386. How long did you have the idea for the Mad Max video in mind? How much did it cost, and how long did it take to make? I mean, I've wanted to make a Mad Max video for a very long time. Ever since ever since Fury Road came out, I've wanted to do something there. It's just cost was always the issue. I try to make videos for as little as possible, make them look as good, and that was one where it really was, I need money to do it. But I pitched this idea. I mean, I've been pitching shows to like YouTube and other places for probably 3-4 years. And then 2 years ago, I was just kind of like, why don't I just pitch what I already do, but on a grander scale? That might be easier for people to understand. So I pitched it like in May of last year, this show to YouTube, and they were immediately like, yeah, that sounds great. We get it. Let's do it. And then from May, they were like, yeah, let's do it, until basically May of this year is how long it took to actually start pre-production. There's a lot of processes that have to go on, like working with a production company and getting everything in line, et cetera, et cetera. It was a very slow process, but I think very worthwhile in the end. It was just frustrating. But then, yeah, so we started in May, pre-production. I started writing and just like kind of going through how I wanted everything to look. And we found a production designer, and I talked to him about how I wanted stuff to look. We found hair and makeup and costume, and I would talk to them about how I wanted things to look and the feel that I wanted. So that started in May, and then we finished the video the very end of August. And then after that, it goes through about a month-long process of approval. Like, it has to be quality controlled to make sure that all the colors are right, the graphics are correct, everything like fits within the frame. So you do that, and then you have to go through ratings and captions. Because this is YouTube and the videos play worldwide, it has to be rated in every country. So if you're in America, you see things like TV PG, TV 14. So it has to be rated everywhere and then captioned into English. So that took about a month, and then we released it. So there you go. How much did it cost? I don't really feel comfortable saying, because I don't know if YouTube wants me to make that public. But I will tell you that it was less than $600,000, more than $50,000, somewhere in there. So the most budget I've ever had for a video, but actually what I think is really interesting, still cheaper than what most TV shows cost. Like even reality TV shows cost more to make than this show did. And for that, I'm really proud of it. Okay, I think I said two more. We'll see. I don't know, I might cut some out when I actually edit this. Oh, I'm gonna really mispronounce your name, and I'm really sorry. Kira? Akira Root? I don't know. Hey, well, just tell me how to spell it in the comments. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Not spell it, pronounce it. Tell me how to pronounce it in the comments. I'm really sorry for getting that wrong. Are you ever going to bring back Taco Time? So Taco Time is a show that I used to do where it'd be me and another YouTuber and I, and we just talk over tacos. I've actually thought about bringing it back as a podcast and making it like an hour-long conversation. And not just with YouTubers, but let's get, Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye and discuss different scientific topics and really make it an experience. So I've thought about bringing back that as a podcast. I'm not sure. Is that a good idea? Leave a comment below. Ha-ha! Or don't. Do whatever you want. Okay. I think there was one more. Oh, yeah. Hollow Jack-o'-lantern owl squiggly line says, how do you get over heartbreak? Time is honestly the best way to do it. I've found that pain, which we'll classify as heartbreak as, gets easier over time. You kind of become numb to it. But that's the thing, like, I'm a very emotional person, so when I do go through these terrible things, it is hard, and it's hard to kind of contain your emotions and your energy, and that's actually one of the reasons why I want to vlog more, is because I'm sick of kind of containing myself in myself, and I want to be able to express it. So for heartbreak, it's just time. I think, people have different ways of getting over it. Maybe it's just by going out and meeting new people or whatever. But for me, it's just kind of, I try and focus on myself, and I try and move forward. Because the further you go in distance, the farther behind you what you experienced was. And so when you look into your rear view, it's just a little dot in the distance, and it doesn't have this weight over you, this towering power. But it's always hard. It's hard dealing with that. Like when my last relationship, when I broke up with her, it was very difficult. Because it's hard to hurt yourself, but you also have to realize that sometimes it's actually for the best. It's a growing experience. And it's never easy to realize that, and sometimes you don't want to realize that. That you need to burn things down sometimes to grow anew. So anyway, there we go. Wow, we ended on a really deep thing there. Let me recap. I love you. If you want to be a member, that's awesome, and I would really appreciate it. But again, you don't have to. It's really just a way for me to make content here more frequently. And you do get custom things next to your name and custom emojis. Yay! And also, this full vlog will be uploaded right now as you're watching this. The full unedited version will be uploaded to my members only channel. Anyway, I hate making things sound like a sales pitch because I really don't want to have to force you to do anything that you don't want to do or make you feel like you have to if you care about me. Do whatever you want. There's going to be no hard feelings either way. It's just like a thing that I turned on because why not? Okay, so with that said, okay, one thing. I don't like sitting down. The camera is already set up like this because Michael filmed his Morse code video on this table. It was already set up like this, and I didn't feel like readjusting it because I know we're going to film a dong again and it's going to be at his table. But I really don't like sitting when I'm talking to you. I like to be able to stand up because I feel so subdued when I'm sitting. Anyway, this is me now just complaining about things that I have total control over. Anywho, it was a pleasure to see you, and remember, it's not goodbye. Oh no, it is never goodbye. It's... Okay, so that was the end of the video. Now you're going to experience the fun time where I just look at the camera very still for a thumbnail shot. And I think the title of this video is going to be Our YouTubers Role Models, because that sounds kind of interesting. So let's do, what would that be? Maybe like a... And then we can do like a... And that's probably good. Okie dokie, outer the chokey. What was that accent? I don't know. Oh, these old bones.